Well, good morning, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It is the 18th of January, 2021. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Lucky duck if you have the day off here today. Looking at last week here on a retail calendar, week ending Saturday, the 16th of January. Here in the U.S., we were just zero point 0.9 degrees cooler than last year, but still made it 11th warmest in 35 years, above average national temperatures. We were very dry, 51% drier than a year ago, driest in 7, eighth driest in 35 years, so much below average on that front. Snowfall even less, 69% less than a year ago, least in 8, and 8th least in 35, so much below average there. Up in Canada, a wholesale change, amazing. This time last year was the coldest in over 35 years across Canada. This year, the hottest in 35 years, 26 degrees hotter than last year. That's pretty epic. Europe, 7.3 degrees colder, coldest in 4 years. You're hearing a lot about the snow across Europe. Russia, again, a wholesale change from last year. Near record hot last year, 18.6 degrees colder than last year, making it the coldest in 34 years across Russia. So pretty epic cold there. China, a tad warmer. Australia, again, continuing their cool summer trends here, 2 degrees cooler than last year, coolest in 9 years. India is continuing their hot, dry trends, 1.9 degree, warmest in 23 years, and just a tad cooler across Brazil. Maps inset left are trends versus average. Another thing that's pretty epic here is U.S. drought. Dry to drought conditions across the U.S. are at this time of year at 62%. Again, that's the most in 8 years since 2013, second most in decades here. Average this time of year would be about 45%. This time last year, we only had 23% of the country with dry to drought phases, so that was near historic lows. We've gone from historic lows drought to getting pretty close to about as high as you'd see this time of year. We expect this to continue into 2021. That drought is already pushing into the plains and the central states. We think that expands as we go into 2021. Looking at snowfall trends here season to date, we're also trending down 22% versus last year, least in 5 years, 20% below average on a national front. Map left there is NOAA's depiction of who's had snow. Pretty much every state except Florida. Even the mountains of Hawaii have had snow. So again, everybody but Florida's had some snow this year, but again, we're trending way below average here season to date. Looking at this week, 18 through 24 January here, still in the warm trends here, 2.4 degrees warmer than last year, warmest in 3, 11th warmest in 35 years, so above average on that front. Map inset left there is temps versus last year. Snowfall, again, 25% less snow this year than last year, least in 3, 16th least in 35. Rainfall also down, 69% less than last year, dries in 7, 11th dries in 35 years, so below average on both fronts. So above normal temperatures, below average precip here for most of the country. Again, a lot of buzz still about the polar vortex, but as you've seen here, it's been Russia. If you watched our Russia outlook that we pushed back out in the September timeframe, we talked that Russia would have the coldest winter in 8 years with the epic cold that they're getting, and that's pretty much where the polar vortex has been camped out. This animation here shows a hope, if you like cold winter weather, but again, it's been trying to do this for a couple weeks now, and it keeps pushing it out. So this is showing some signs of the polar vortex here for next week, late next week, into early February. That's about the time we'd expect it in our year ahead outlook was late January, early February. And then beyond that, we expect a warming trend for the latter half of February. So again, some hope, but again, the models just do not want to bring this polar vortex into the U.S. In any great force at this stage. Canada certainly looks like they're going to see a cool down here later next week. Next week here across the U.S., 25 through 31 January, so last week of January, hard to believe here. 5.6 degrees colder than last year, 15th coldest in 35 years. So below average. A little concerned that this is probably overdone. I don't know that it's going to be quite this cold. Again, it'll just depend on if and when a little piece of that polar vortex decides to move in. If it does, it would move into probably the northern plains first. 74% wetter than last year, wettest in 8 years, fourth wettest in 35 years. Again, this may be a bit overdone as well. Snow most in 12 years, fourth most in 35 years. So again, a lot of this is just contingent upon if we get a glancing shot of this polar vortex here late next week. But again, looks like a cooler, wetter, snowier trend here, if you'd like that. You got some hope here for the last week of January. So we'll look at these 2-week aggregate here. Again, now this is just aggregating the 2 weeks for the world overall. Some improving of temperatures in southwest Moscow. It's still bitterly cold up there in parts of Siberia, where it belongs. See some cooling trends there in Canada. And again, still on a 2-week aggregate, mild in the U.S., eastern half of the country. Preset map as an inset left there. So hope you have a great week, folks, and we will be back here this time next week.